And let's get right into it. Game number 1, 6 p.m. Disfigure Gaming versus Monkey Eaters. Lot of controversy around this one. Some people saying it's going to be the most intense game of the tournament so far. And honestly, I can't really disagree. Both of these teams being the dominant in the quarterfinals, showing a lot of talent. Definitely coming to the forefront, although not being the most dominant game of all. Of course, our third team, the Fuda Fanatics, moving directly to the grand finals after a 7-1 victory yesterday. These two being the runner-ups and looking for the grand finale spot here. Going to be a great game to watch. Just a quick notifier, if anyone's interested in helping the stream out, helping the Discord out, helping the community out, there's several avenues that you can do to help us do more tournaments like this in the future. If you'd like to support us, you can either join our Discord, you can follow the Twitch channel to help us on a road to a Twitch affiliate, or you can buy any of our products from our supporter and affiliate, Red Dragon. Anyway, this is what I was talking about yesterday when we were talking about continuous teams. Usually having those teams put together for our nightly scrims in the moment, not too much coordination beforehand on terms of the players having just met, sometimes having played before, but one way or another still being roughly brand new teams and not too much strategy going to be able to come in from beforehand. But the difference here is that these teams are going to be continuous, at least one of these two teams going to the grand finale to play their third game of the weekend. So there's going to be a lot more important to see strategy involved, right? The coordination of the team players. But either way, we'll have to see what happens. For the Monkey Eaters on the blue team here, we've seen a lot of very strong fragging coming in from, I think it was specifically Genderbender and Rose DJ at the top of the scoreboard last night when they took their victory 8-7 over their opponents. Similarly, for the orange team with the Disfigure Gaming roster, we see a few high-end players who really shine out among their team, specifically being Evan and EasyClap, having put in the top amount of effort for all of their players from the previous game that they played. Much more dominant than we saw from the Monkey Eaters, having won 7-3 in their quarterfinals game. Let's get right into the first round, though. Let's have Disfigure Gaming on the defense first, having a CC site pick first. Nothing surprising there. Pretty standard setup here. Seems like a lot of the a lot of the utility going towards a workshop reinforcements. We usually don't see all of those walls being reinforced by the defense on logistics. Obviously, some sort of preparation here, assuming that the attack is going to be heavily highlighted by the west side of the map. Who knows? They might have information that we don't have. We'll have to see.
5 seconds to insertion. Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Ooh, risky castle there from Evan as he just barely places it down before the ensuing attackers are able to get into position. Definitely a smart move, though, to get it down in time, as it is vital to keep that window closed if you want to have any chance of bandit tricking on CC wall. Being a very exposed position, both vertically and horizontally, from the window and from downstairs and lounge. Seeming to be a early wall take from the attack, having the Maverick there to make sure the wall gets open nice and cleanly without having to worry about bandit tricking. Definitely the play there. Thermite able to easily get that wall open without too many troubles. And we are already going to see a almost confirmed wall here, since there is no Cade to deny Maverick tricking. Fierce on the edge here, going downstairs to lounge. Gonna have a confrontation here with the bandit being placed right by the doorway, having just gotten droned out, looking to retreat to save his life for another day. Most of the defense here still being stuck on site. Definitely the play, though. We don't really want to see too much roaming, but we do have that Jaeger playing over by Master, definitely going to be the sole force for the defense to hold down for his team and keep a little bit of spread on the top floor control. Ash going up to the wall again, looking to pick some fights, but he is very lit up. Not too much room for improvisation here, with only one bullet going to be taking him out without a qualm. Few of the defenders rotating to hold down in bottom garage, including that Jaeger rotating all the way through downstairs, looking to pick off pushing attackers. But pretty smooth sailing for both sides right now. No casualties as the attackers take their time looking to find an entry point to the site. Ash going up onto the roof, possibly looking for a works up push, but he decides at the last moment, switching over to that CC wall there. We see Capitao preparing for his entry. A few stuns being thrown in. Unfortunate, a stun on his teammates there, but Nomad having pushed up all the way up garage, and it seems like we're going to have a pretty easy entry, but no! Oh, the Nitrocell is able to take off one, even though the plant is still going down. Looks like a Nitrocell coming from below is going to take out two of the defenders. Almost a third one there, but a refrag from Ash as he's able to pick off, swinging back in the favor of the attackers as they are able to get a while of kills in their favor. Nomad being the only member actually still in the building here against the two defenders looking to gain control. The first one falls to Jaeger as he swings around, looking for the second, overlooks the Nomad's positions, and it's all left up to Bandit. He's almost able to get the refrag out, but Nomad is able to pick off both of them in a quick succession. And round number one going to the Monkey Eaters, looking to gain momentum on a widely considered even map. No big sway either way. Really interesting to see the kind of wave back and forth of momentum there from the attack and defense, having initially gone over to the defense, probably giving them some overconfidence as we saw those early two picks coming out. Fortunately, though, for the attackers, not onto the planter. Then, simply after that, a rain of kills coming in from the Nomad and Capitao, able to pick off all of the rushing defenders from Disfigure Gaming, looking to get that defuse off. Fortunately, falling out of their favor, finally coming to a 3v2, where we see those last two picks going to the Nomad holding down in garage. Very nicely pronged attack. I think the major issue there with the defense's possible gap in their strategy being the late rotate of the Wame outside of garage, losing that momentum, that strong area of defense from garage window that would have saved them in that last few moments had there been someone holding from the south side of the map. Seeming to eliminate that as a possibility altogether, Castle deciding to completely barricade off the window in garage, removing that angle as a possibility for either one of the teams. Pretty much exact same positioning from all of the defense here, obviously having a pre-planned strategy on where they should be playing. Not too much left up to the imagination from the orange team here, as they are just following the imaginary textbook having been put in place before this game. Thermite looking to clear out the bandit that caused them so many issues last round before they even get started, planning on working on that wall right away, just as last time, being an instrumental factor in their victory during the last round. Maverick going for the bottom of the wall just as usual. Thermite, for some reason, not having already pre-run up the wall, possibly taking things a bit slower, but I'm sure it'll result in the same outcome nonetheless, just after a slightly longer time. I think we're seeing a very perfect combination here of patience and aggressiveness from the blue team as they're able to play offsite, get droning done early, and then focus on the push onto the map here. Besides that, it's pretty much just basic siege once you combine those two aspects, but it takes a lot of determination to combine those two skills and attributes into one team, especially people who are working so well together. Global Double shield falling from the Ash there as he opens up a long line of sight into Garage and displacing the Wame, who had been playing in Rafters a few minutes earlier, now pushing down to Rafter Stairs. Still a few people playing by CC, but it seems like we have a slightly diversified tack as the Maverick playing around, not quite sure what his strategy is here, seemingly now exposed though to be going to get that castle barricade on the CC wall. He's going to be gaining a lot of information from the holes he makes here, noticing there aren't actually that many defense players in that direct proximity near the breach. Ome, a man on an island being surrounded from several sides, is barely able to hold down himself for a few seconds, and unfortunately is picked up by the Maverick, but a quick refrag and another one from the Jaeger, then picked off onto the Ash. Somehow the plant is going down, not sure how that's happening, but it is shut down before it can even get started, and Ash left the only player on the blue team to hold the round together for his team in a 1v3 situation with a sliver of health left on his scoreboard. 30 seconds left, and the diffuser in close proximity. There is a possibility of a clutch, but it is a slim one considering his physical position and the information just being relayed to the defense. He goes for a pre-fire, but just a little bit too high, and Castle is able to get an easy shot onto him, and it's going to be second round going towards Disfigure Gaming as they get a smooth refrag onto all their kills and closing out the clutch without any hiccups. Pretty easy bounce back there. I think a lot of people were saying, and probably still are predicting, that this is going to be a very close game. Both of these teams showing very similar levels of skill, coordination, and the ability to disrupt a push from the other games that we've seen from them. Predictions are showing, from what I've heard from people, I'd say I actually also fall into that category that maybe Disfigure Gaming has the slight edge in this scenario, but it is really hard to say, and any slight variation of the properties of either of these teams could change the outcome drastically.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Camera feed.
Going to be going to a downstairs defense here from the orange team. Disfigure Gaming obviously not having too much of a choice as they were just upstairs and having got the victory. Now their only choice being to go downstairs.
10 seconds to insertion.
Cade being a vital pick here for this site. Not quite sure how anyone could... I mean, I guess there's a few possibilities. Of course, you can pulse trick the hatch with a nitrocell, impact trick, but by far the easiest solution to holding down these hatches in the basement section of the map being to Cade off those hatches, making it much more difficult for a solo thermite or cabana to get any access through the floor. Not too much soppery potential from the attackers. We don't see a sledge or a buck in sight. Only the Ash left to fill that role and not really being the ideal player for that type of need. Especially when we're talking about a Arsenal defense where they're going to want to, if there was any need for soft breach, bust open the floor and get lines of sight. With only 2 Ash charges in place on Ash's kit, we're not going to see too many chances to make that happen if there's only 2 possibilities, 2 angles. Defense pretty much centralized on downstairs, not too much roaming problems right now with 3 of the defense, probably the perfect number right there. Jaeger playing it safe all the way upstairs, and we see that is the Bandit, yes, playing upstairs in bathroom, just waiting for some of the attackers to rotate over to the west side of the floor. Ash seemingly up to Jaeger's trips as they locate his position, and he is forced to rotate over to master side, possibly trying to come down back onto the site here and just play it much safer than he was originally anticipating he would. Fortunately, his position being located so quickly. Smoke, definitely him being located here, seemingly about to be fired off and dropped onto as the attackers just preparing for their blue push. Hatch not even being attempted to be held out. Fire goes out, and Smoke is forced to rotate out. Unfortunately, he is able to actually get a shot off, but fortunately for the attackers, refragged quickly, and a second shot from the Habana is able to make things a round advantage, sorry, man advantage, for the blue team here. 3, now 2 of the attack having played down in blue. Valkyrie able to get a shot off onto one of the attackers, but is refragged by the Habana. Another shot coming back from Valkyrie, putting it back into a 2v2. Just the bandits and the Valkyrie left. Shot coming in from Valkyrie puts us in a 1v2 situation for the Habana, left alone in Moto with little to no information. He does know the location of the Valkyrie, though, swinging around and looking for the first pick. Nitrocell missing over his head. He's able to get the first one, but quickly refrag back. Bandit putting another round on the board for the orange team. Round number 3 going to Disfigure Gaming, putting themselves for the first time this game at a round advantage. Doing a little bit of godly work there, hitting the floor, showing everyone his skill. Obviously, if you can knife the ground after you get a kill, you must be really good at the game. But besides that, all-around gameplay being very good from the defense, able to, even in tough situations, like we saw that Smoke being in after the fire came out, able to get a refrag before being shot down. Those 1v1 situations are really what makes this team work. If you're able to, even with all that utility being thrown at you, somehow magically pull a kill out and keep the game even, that's what gives your later teammates such a good advantage in winning the game out, because you're keeping the game even, you're not putting them at a disadvantage as much as possible, as you're able to take out just as much utility as being taken out of you when you die. One way or another, though, moving into round number 4, the Monkey Eaters looking to regain the ground that they just lost. Absolutely not demoralized at all. Still a very close game. I don't see any reason for either of these teams to have any motivation issues whatsoever, considering their skill gap to be so close, and knowing that no matter what, it's going to be a very close game if they keep up their same energy level from what we've seen in past games, and now in this game, as it seems still every round being down to the last few seconds and the last few players. Not seeing too much drastic wins or boring rounds that we were seeing from previous games, with teams absolutely dominating one another, now being moved down to the best of the herd. Not too much boring action to be seen.
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds left before insertion. Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Attackers being focused around, that is, what is that? Shipping dock. My apologies, haven't played Clubhouse very recently. Either way, a shipping dock push. I think this is the first one we've really seen ever. Not a lot of people these days choosing to go for a shipping dock push unless there's a bedroom defense. That would be the one exception. Possibly looking to get Jacuzzi wall open quick and fast here, not wasting too much time or abiding to any other outside forces. Ash possibly doing a bit more of a diverse push here as he decides to go for the windows on site, using his Ash charges to focus on getting those castle barricades open and creating a cross angle from the soon-to-be opened Jacuzzi wall that his teammates are working on right now. The defenders seemingly quite split up right now, not precisely where they need to be, as we see Jaeger playing all the way downstairs by pool table. Could be a decent spot to be in, as it is the close to rotate spot that the attackers will go if they cannot successfully get into Jacuzzi, but that is not seeming to be the case. The only 2 defenders actually being on site, sorry, 3 being the Smoke, Wame, and Bandits. Actually, stood in Castle. The wall does get opened. Thermite able to easily get it open after the Maverick tricking takes out those Bandit charges. Still not seeing a Cade on any of the upstairs sites. Possibly a ill-advised decision from the orange team.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Oh, looks like we're having a few of the attackers dropping into logistics. That's a lot of ground being taken very quickly with no real defense from the orange team. Nitrocell coming from below was hoping to get a few picks onto them, but not working in their favor as it misses between the two of them. Ash and Maverick still remain mostly unharmed from that confrontation, although Maverick having taken some shots earlier when getting Jacuzzi while open. A lot of ground being taken here from the attackers.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Little bit of warehouse pushback from the Maverick there as Wame rotating over into construction to hold his Maverick hole. Unfortunately, for the attackers, a second defender rotating over there as well, holding close on the wall, but it's not going to be needed as Wame is able to get the pick off on the Maverick, although the refrag is coming out and things are happening very quickly here. The plant assumedly tried to go down, but not looking great for the attackers as a slew of damage comes in, and all the attackers are now gone. Pyre getting the final kill for his team, not even able to keep up with the level of kills coming in there, just one after another. Incredible gunmanship there. All the fights won. The planter shut down before things were too late. Everything was going perfect there for the Monkey Eaters. They'd taken a lot of site control, a lot of map control, logistics being theirs, having those Maverick holes set up, Jacuzzi being opened in the first minute and a half, and gym window being opened up without too much of a hitch either. They had a lot of cross angles going there, but just because of the gunmanship from Disfigure Gaming, they were able to win that round out sheerly off the backs of individual skill. Not something you see too often, but an old and reliable trick. If you can't count on your team, just do it yourself. All of them taking it into their own hands to make sure things went smoothly, and indeed they did as a 4-man advantage. By far the most definite round so far in the game. Disrupt Gaming putting themselves at a 2-round lead going into round number 5. Looks like we're going to be going back to a CC defense for the Orange team. This is going to be the second last round in the half. Defense looking to put themselves in at least a 4-2, if not a 5-1 split. Would definitely be very dominant. Of course, the attackers now their only hope being to get a even split at 3-3 and get their advantage back on defense. But I am sure Disfigure Gaming not wanting to give them that lead at all or that advantage in any sense. Looks like we're going to see Bandit tricking again. Once again, I'd like to emphasize no Cade being brought in on CC or Jim, even though they have seen the Maverick being brought in every single time, completely shutting down any sort of form of bandit tricking that could or could not happen. With a Cade, it's much more difficult for the Maverick to find the location of the electric surface, especially with no Thatcher being brought in this game. It would have kept the wall almost completely safe. I guess the defense just not thinking about it in the moment, or how useful that might have been to keep that wall closed. Thermite looking to deal with this bandit here, knowing that he's playing the same spot every single time. Fortunately, though, that Nomad charge being placed down to prepare them for the runout in case they don't hear it being brought. Ome again playing in the rafters of Garage. A pretty good spot. Can't deny it too much. It's very well used, very common in any CC defense that we're going to see. Just waiting for any of the attackers to come his direction. Easy clap on the bandit, holding downstairs in bar, just waiting for someone to come his direction. Getting a little scared there by the Jaeger as he shoots randomly and almost thinking it was an enemy, but not so. The Ash possibly looking to push into Lounge here, going to be taking stock in a few seconds after he drones out and locates his opponents. Although 2 defenders holding down by Bart, it's going to be a trickle battle for him as he has to fight not 1 but 2 defenders, both the bandit and the Jaeger holding down, preparing for him to come in. And a very nice angle from Functioned on the Jaeger. Not sure if Ash is going to be able to predict that, being a very uncommon but very strong angle. Again, a coconut bra spot for the scrim. While heading getting opened a few seconds ago, and yes, it's going to be Jaeger to get that pick that I thought onto the Ash. Still holding the angle, and I think, no, the diffuser still in the hands of the Thermite with the wall open, now at a man down. Still possible for the blue team, but a little less likely. Utility going in. Looks like this is going to be the push in action here. But unfortunately, the Nitrocell from below, and the second one, oh my goodness, it's Explosion City. 2 picks coming down for the orange team with their Nitrocells being very well timed. Unfortunately, a refrag for the defense, or sorry, for the attack, as Maverick is able to pick off the Wame in garage, putting them in a 2v4 situation. Still not looking great for them though, as they have to fight all on their own in a 2v4. Not much else about it. It's just going to be pure gunfight from these two if they want to make things work. Nomad seeing the gun barrel of one of the defenders, getting ready for the push, and he's going to be able to pre-fire Jaeger here, and he is able to get the kill. Maverick's still there. Things a little bit more possible, but with only 15 seconds left on the clock, it's getting a little tense. Another kill coming in from Maverick, evening the game out, and it's going to be a third for Nomad. Oh my god, completely swinging out of favor. Now down to a 1v1. The Valkyrie, the only one remaining, and he just barely closes it out. A very close round there. The attack almost bringing it back from a bad situation, but Disfigure Gaming able to put another round on the board, and Pyrie on the Valkyrie, the one to close out the round. Coming down to the very last seconds, killing the Maverick, disorientated after the defuse being placed down, having to turn around. Very nicely done from the defense there in the last few seconds. I guess Pyrie being the only one to actually do any effort in stopping their push. Although very nicely, again, accommodations on both sides, of course, the blue team. Monkey Eaters doing a very good job getting that wall open, pushing in, and getting those shots off in the last few seconds, specifically the Nomad there. The Maverick contributing as well, though. Anyway, moving into the last round of the half. It's going to be the blue team hoping to get one more round on the board to put them in a 2-4 situation and maybe make a comeback on defense. After all, some people are much more comfortable on that bright orange side, but still being at a 2-round advantage at the most, at the very least, or worst case scenario for them being in a 1-5 situation would definitely not be good for them, doing everything in their power to avoid being in that deep of a hole on their side switch. Possibly setting up for a warehouse push here. I would not be surprised if we were to see a hard oil push coming in from the attackers, as it seems like that's where both they're setting up their angles, setting up their drones, and where we're going to see most of them spawning over by the warehouse. Valkyrie setting up some cams over in blue, getting that intel ready, possibly predicting a push coming from that side. I think predictions being correct on my part, all of the attackers, I think for the most part, 4 of them, spawning over by warehouse, getting ready to take garage early, maybe a stock push too. One of the attackers going on a solo rampage, the IQ of Rose DJ, pushing in through kitchen, hoping to get some ground on the defense. Seems like the Valkyrie, or maybe it's the Bandit, one of the site players of the defense, preparing and shooting up through the floor there, possibly getting ready to impact trick or explosion trick and hatch, as apparently thinking the Cade is not going to be enough, although it definitely will be considering the defense, attack not having the correct utility to get that Cade off of the hatch. Seems like both of these teams having troubles improvising to the other strategy with very simple operator picks that would have made things much easier for both teams, decidedly not going their way. The first confrontation between the attack and defense, Jaeger versus Sophia. A close pre-fire almost taking off the head of Function, although he rotates away before too much else can pursue. Holding down top floor, his job as the roamer to take as much time as possible out of the hands of the blue team. IQ holding down Master Stairs, waiting on his rotate out, almost confirming the death of the Jaeger, as there is no longer an easy way for him to escape. As we talk, though, the dirt wall being opened up by the Thermite. getting ready for a bit of a diverse push. Unfortunately, IQ stopping her angle just for a second, leaving the sledge vulnerable. Oh no, because of the misfortune of the IQ, he is unable to get that shot off. Fortunately, he is able to now, but just a little bit too late, as now it is an even game rather than a man advantage for the attackers. A bit of slipped drone work there from the IQ as she looks away just at the wrong moment, allowing the opportunity for the Jaeger to push down and get a kill subconsciously. Thermite finally figuring out how to get this hatch here, though. Unfortunately for him, the Cade is in position to take care of that. He is able to shoot it through the floor, completely safening his position. Thermite deciding to push out first. The IQ having taken a lot of ground here. Already down in Master Hallway, having rotated out quickly as the camera locates him. Only 25 seconds left on the clock, and the smokes start to come out from Church. Possibly a deep Arsenal rush here. Cade, his position being known, is taken out quite quickly, and it's the man advantage for the attack finally. The plank going down very quickly. This is a very confident position, I would say, for the blue team. Unfortunately, the flank from the bandit able to get a pick off, but the plank goes down nonetheless as he kills the wrong person. Blue on the left, orange on the right. Who is going to win? Seems like the first pick going out for the defense. And a second one. Oh no, it's all left up for the Habana for a position that seems so strong. Now just falling apart under their feet as the defense getting their 5th round. Split ending 5-1. Not looking great for the Monkey Eaters as they lose a round that seemed so certain for a few seconds there if they had just held their flank a little bit stronger. Very unfortunate for the blue team, having put so much effort in the last few seconds there, but nonetheless, it's going to be Disfigure Gaming to close the round out, going into their second half. I don't know if the Monkey Eaters are going to be able to come back from this. Having gotten the first round, they did seem quite confident going into this, and I would like to emphasize they're doing everything right. The way that they're attacking the map, clearing out roamers, just everything about their strategy is absolutely correct, but somehow, just in the last few seconds, their strategy being misinterpreted every single time, and just when the crucial gunfights come down, they are not winning what needs to be done, no matter how well they are fragging out in these rounds. All of the rounds being incredibly close, coming down to a few players, except for a few exceptions. If we take a look at the scoreboard here, pretty similar, although I'd say a little bit more stacked for the blue or orange team, as would be expected. Winning rounds, obviously, they're going to be getting more kills, but pretty close from both of these teams. Rose DJ definitely taking the top for his team here. Either way, kill-wise, both the teams doing quite similar, just when it comes down to the final few moments, it always seems to be the orange team to sweep out the victory from under the Monkey Eaters' feet. Anyway, now on defense, possibly could be a switch of momentum here, as some teams, as I mentioned earlier, just can perform a little bit better on defense. Not quite sure why. I think just their play style is represented better on the defense side. But one way or another, we'll have to see if this makes any difference, or if it just continues to be a slaughter from Disfigure Gaming as they make their way to the grand finale, only 2 rounds away from a shoo-in from the full bracket entry to our grand finale. And the final game of the tournament would be going up against Fuda Fanatics at 7 p.m. tonight. To be a very quick entry from the attackers here as they're trying to get a lot of these doors open. The Zofia and the Jackal going for a duo push here. A strong tag team trying to clear out some of that stock presence from afar using their better guns and ACOG as permitted on defense. Sorry, attack. Capito spotting the location of the bandit here. Is playing very close to the door in a bad position as they are all around him, surrounding his location, being brought down to a bar of health, just running away with his life. A millisecond either way would have caused him to fall quite quickly into the round. Not looking good for his team, being at the round disadvantage that they are at. If they want to make a comeback, they're going to have to get all of the round victories. Capital setting up outside of CC window, as you should be, using his Incendiary Bolt to take care of any bandit trigger that might be presented. Almost getting picked off there by the Wome, but the bullets just missing by a few centimeters. Jackal able to get his first pick off as Rose GJ, the lit up bandit and the top fragger of the defense, falls quite early into the match. And the main advantage goes again to the attackers. And a second kill for Pyre on a rampage as he gets a flick up onto the Wome. The wall getting opened here from the attackers of Disfigure Gaming as the Capital Bolt getting rid of the Cade Trigger and allowing for a easy entry from the Thermite. A lot of map control here. Jackal having taken all the way up the garage stairs, having a lot of site entry. This could be the end of things for Monkey Eaters as they don't really have too much of control onto the actual site. Pulling all the way back, Jaeger's head just being looked at, but too quick of a quick peek. Unfortunately, falls right in front of a open hole, and a second pick coming in from Sophia. It's all left up to the Cade of the defense, being left with the pistol. He's almost able to get the down, but it just doesn't happen. A flawless round for Disfigure Gaming, absolutely smashing their way through these rounds. It doesn't seem to matter that they are now on attack. Pyre getting some absolutely clip-worthy kills that round, completely smashing his opponents. Now on match point, the last opportunity for Monkey Eaters to make anything work in this game. This round comparison here, you know, how drastic the round differences really puts into perspective the skill that we're seeing between the two teams. We saw Monkey Eaters winning a very close game against their opponents in game number 2 yesterday. Now, having been the victors only by a slight margin yesterday, showing that even if they had not won with a similar skill to their opponents yesterday, probably would have been in a similar situation as being so close yesterday. Now, unfortunately, either team of their caliber going up against Disfigure Gaming would not have stood much of a chance, just as Monkey Eaters has not stood much of a chance in the last few rounds. Although they have put up a very good fight, I don't want to downplay what they've been doing so far. A lot of these rounds have been incredibly close and down to a few gunfights and a few seconds. But when it just comes down to it, in the very important moments at the end of the round, it has been Disfigure Gaming to win the rounds, to make those important plays, and to get the victory. Anyway, the last opportunity from the Monkey Eaters to bring any sort of comeback into this, if they get some momentum going, obviously there is a good chance that they could make something of this. But as things are looking right now, currently up to this point, it does not seem like there's much hope for the blue team. A split up tack from the attackers here, split between main gate, warehouse, and construction site, really trying to tackle a lot of ground on their own, as they should be able to, as we've been seeing them winning a lot of their gunfights, going to be able to take large amounts of ground and those individual gunfights against the roamers with relative ease, as the bandit being the main roamer now rotating back to site, and it seems all of the defenders just turtling up, trying to get a close round, giving a lot of ground to their counterparts. Going to see, although they do not know it as of right now, the attackers taking a lot of ground, going to have to waste a lot of time droning out upstairs when actually no one is there. Fortunately, though, able to locate the lack of roaming presence upstairs very early in the round, and going to be able to take all of that ground without too much pain or sweat and tears being put into droning out areas with no one in it. Thermite trying to get the wall here. Cade going to be trying to get that, or not. I would have assumed that the Cade would have tried to Cade trick that wall, seemingly not even giving any effort towards it. He's just going to be holding the angle. The attackers still working downwards from the roof, trying to take all of the ground before they take any gunfights, making sure there's no opportunity of a late flank. A lot of intel, though, left up to the defense, as they still have a few Valcams in operation for Moto. Thermite able to pick off Hatch. Oh no. Unfortunately, what the Monkey Eaters were not able to do, the Disfigure Gaming roster, is the Cade missing his shots onto that there, the Thermite charge. Unfortunately, though, finally, the Bandit getting that Nitro Cell we saw pre-placed very earlier, though refragged instantly by the Jackal, as he's able to pick off the the Bandit, who just refragged, downstairs on the master stairs. Looking for more. The second pick coming out. This is probably the beginning of the end as Thermite is able to pick off that Jaeger. Looking for a second pick onto the Cade directly below him. Bullets being traded in both directions. Just a mayhem of pushes here. Sophia able to take a lot of ground here. Oh, this could be the game-changing moment. Pushing up with the intel on where the defenders are looking for the Cade. He's able to get one and looking for a second, and it's all left up to the Valkyrie to pull out an incredible clutch to save his team. He started off with Pyrie, the absolute hot gunner on his team, going 18-3, but he still has a long way to go if he wants to keep his team in it.
Attackers are activating the diffuser.
Looking for another. He gets a nice flick and almost a third, but that is going to be it for the second last game. A very... not a very close game. Disfigure Gaming taking a 7-1 victory over the Monkey Eaters and putting themselves in the grand finale against Fuda Fanatics, going in as the strong favorites from people who have been keeping up with the tournament. I am very interested to see where this goes from here, but everyone watching, that is going to be it for the first game. We'll be returning with your grand finale, best of 3 game versus Fuda Fanatics and Disfigure Gaming to get that cash prize and the tournament champion role in the Discord.